Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, this one is about butt injections, tummy tucks, breast enlargement, everything having to do with people trying to alter, make themselves larger or smaller, enhance themselves for whatever the reason. And I think there's a show or a series that comes on talking about botched surgeries. I don't know if you all have seen it or not, but some of those stories are really sad. They have surgeries where people go and get their butt enlarged, or their breasts enlarged, or they get a tummy tuck and something goes wrong and they end up having to have corrective surgery to try to fix the problem. And some of the surgeries are so bad that it damages the person's body and disfigures their body for life. And some of the stories are so sad. And so I've been seeing a lot of this lately. I don't know if you all have been seeing this, but a lot of the people like that I've known or seen in neighborhoods where I live are doing this thing where they're getting butt injections. Um, and I've been seeing it on like maybe Latino women or white women. I haven't really seen it as much on black women, but I'm seeing some black women are doing it too, where they're getting the butt injections, but they're making their hips wider, or they're looking kind of, where it just doesn't seem real, like almost like a cartoon character. And so it's not natural, and it looks like it could be something that could be really dangerous. They start with something that looks pretty mild and you can see it, but it doesn't look as bad in the beginning. But then later, I guess they become addicted to getting the surgery and they think that, oh, this is not big enough, or I should put more in, or I should do more or change more about myself, and then they go and get more things done, and then it starts to look really, really scary. So anyway, this article says everything you need to know about butt injections and every other booty booster. And a lot of this is what's really popular right now. I guess what I've seen is a lot of young, like video women that are in like they're strippers or they're rappers, or they're in rap videos, will get these butt injections, or they're models or whatnot, or they're trying to look like popular figures to try to enhance themselves to look a certain way. So it says get the facts before you swap squats for surgical sculpting. So this is by Elizabeth Narins. And so these are like normal women right here. And that's normal. Okay. But I'm not trying to make fun of anybody or anything, or poke fun of this family, but I believe a lot of these famous people kind of inspire people to try to enhance their look, because people are trying to look a particular way, because they have this pressure that they want to look a particular way to appeal to certain type of people. So whether you call it the Kardashian effect or blame Beyonce for slaying so hard, bootylicious butts are in, as evidence by enhancement procedures on the rise. And so I have seen a lot of it lately, and it's like a big deal. And I was talking to associate at work, and she was saying that she was even considering trying to do something to her body, and that she knew somebody that did surgery, and that did a friend of hers, and she saw some pictures of some of her friends on Instagram and on some of those, where they take pictures of themselves and whatnot. And so we saw some Latino girls where their butt looks like a cartoon character. It doesn't even look real. See, these women here are like normal. They have normal bodies. You don't see anything different really. It's just like it looks normal. Well, later I'll show you some pictures. Anyway, you wouldn't believe, but it just seems unreal, and it's starting to become like a huge trend. So between 2016 and 2017 alone, There was a 10% increase in legal butt augmentation, according to the data from the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, with more than 25,000 of the surgeries performed in the last year. So, although the organization doesn't track cosmetic work performed by unlicensed parties, black market butt injections have made headlines in recent years for their harmful effects, including the death of several patients, which has led to the imprisonment of certain practitioners. Because muscles and large blood vessels run through the pelvic and gluteal area, cosmetic enhancement that agitate the area can provoke serious issues. So, particularly since the procedures are still pretty new, here's what you need to know before you consider any bottom boosting strategy besides squatting, which works BTW, according to Dr. Daniel Ma'am, my man, or whatever, my man, a board certified plastic surgeon. So 740 Park Plastic Surgery in Manhattan. Okay, legit plastic surgeons supersize butts in three ways: gluteal fat grafting, aka Brazilian butt lift, is the most common procedure, and that's one of the procedures that they use. It's gluteal fat grafting. So, after extracting body fat from the patient's belly, flanks, back, arms, and the legs via liposuction, it is redeposited strategically throughout the butt area in and out the patient's procedure. So, it's an in outpatient procedure. So, it's like you're really like moving fat from one area that you don't want there to another area of your body. And so this is the procedure that this associate at work today, actually, in fact, was telling me that she has a friend that does this type of procedure and it's pretty popular and people have been going to him. And I think he has like maybe a practice that he works out of a place where the office where he works out of Las Vegas. And so she said a lot of people go to him to get the procedure done, and he makes the most money at this. And so this is the end thing to do now. Although the first part of this process is pretty safe, injecting any substance into the butt can be so dangerous that a task force devoted to reducing mortality rates recently surveyed nearly 700 surgeons to derive best practices, which was published in the Aesthetic Surgery Journal. Okay, so if you are a centimeter off and the needle accidentally hits a blood vessel, the fat can travel straight to the heart. And so this is pretty serious, y'all. So the patient can die instantly on the table while they're doing this procedure. So Dr. Maman says, describing what's known as fat embolism. So other side effects can include fluid buildup, undercorrection, infection, pain, complications reported nearly 10% of the patients, according to 2016 report. So what's more, fat grafting requires general anesthesia. And so we know what happens with that. Depending on which method is used, this can lead to nausea, vomiting, temporary con- um, cognitive impairments as well, such as memory issues and memory loss. So, average cost of the fat transfer is $4,356. And so, a lot of people will have like save their little money so they can have somebody do it because it's like a cheaper way or a cheaper route to do that type of surgery, according to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons. So, plus anesthesia and operating room costs also incurred. So, although about 50% of the fat deposit is typically reabsorbed in the body, Dr. Maman says that the remaining volume is permanent. Okay, so you never need touch ups for that. Once that surgery is done, you don't have to have a touch up. So, recovery can take 2 to 4 weeks. So, the least invasive technique is sculptura injections. Although it is not explicitly approved for butt enhancement, Dr. Maman says reported or no, respected surgeons are using water diluted Sculptra, an FDA approved facial filler, is what it is, that stimulates the collagen production to gradually add volume to the area. So, although he considers the substance safe and effective, some patients report dimply skin and uneven results. So, have you ever seen somebody get their butt um, augmented, well, changed? You know, they get this butt lift and it looks like it has the dimply look, it's uneven or it's off. And so that's from this Sculptra injections. And so when used as directed, a smooth, shallow facial wrinkles, pain, tenderness, swelling, um, to smooth, shallow facial wrinkles, pain, tenderness, swelling, and redness are the most common side effects, but they tend to subside after a few days, according to the product's maker. Okay, so but because it hasn't been studied in the context of butt augmentation, there are no statistics on Sculptra's adverse effects in this use case. Okay, so the procedure, which takes several minutes and requires no anesthesia, can cost several thousands of dollars depending on the kind of boost you're seeking, according to Dr. Maman. Results can last 1 to 2 years, he says. So if the results last 1 to 2 years after your 2 years is up, what happens after that? That's the question I have. So the riskiest option is the silicone butt implants. And so that's probably going to be a lot more pricier and it's more riskier because this method, which requires general anesthesia as well, involves injections. Well, not injections, but insertions of self contained silicone butt implants between the skin and muscle, because nearly 22% of the patients report complications such as wound rupture, fluid buildup, pain, bacteria infection, according to a 2016 report. The procedure isn't super common in the US, and the man says. So, on average, getting implants costs about $4,860 plus. You're going to get anesthesia and the operating room cost, according to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons. So silicone injections are a terrible idea because the FDA specifically advises against using silicone as butt boosters. Legitimate doctors don't offer them. However, the black market, they do offer butt injections that don't require general anesthesia and range for just a few $100s to several thousands of dollars, depending on the practitioner and the volume desired. Only seems like a reasonable option, right? But unauthorized practitioners using non-medical grade products pose the great risk to patients, says the man, who cites death as the worst case scenario in that scene. So can you imagine you going thinking you're getting your butt or breast or whatever, and you have this black market doctor doing your work, and then you don't wake up if they give you anesthesia, or either you get the procedure, you wake up, or you have all these health problems. So it says ongoing pain, infection, blood vessel blockage, even leading to a stroke are possible. They're all possible according to the FDA, which also cites scarring, which could be permanent, and a potential for permanent disfigurement as well, like I was saying in the beginning before I read this article. So that's because the body responds to foreign substances by surrounding them with immune cells and granulomas, and so that can amount to a rock hard abscesses and large as golf or tennis balls, according to the Dr. Maman. So they can make it possible or impossible to sit comfortably and let alone work at a desk job. So you won't be able to even sit down very well because of all of those things. It's like your natural body instinct to protect itself, so it'll form all of this pus and all these things around the area of the site, because what it's trying to do is expel it, because it doesn't belong there. It's foreign bodies are objects inside of your body, and so your body's innate sense is to fight off all of that. And so that's what causes the permanent disfigurement. So on top of this, some patients report continuous butt growths, particularly in response to the weight fluctuations and the weight training. Besides body fat, the sculpture, nothing else should be injected into the butt, period, my man says. So they can be problematic since there's no way to tell whether you're getting medical grade A or industrial grade materials bought. You don't know if it's stuff that is real or it's stuff that was bought from Home Depot and whether they're sterile or not. So that's really scary, y'all. So some of these young girls, they see these magazines and they see Beyonce, they see the Kardashians, they see all these models, these women that they feel that are much prettier or beautiful, or they have something about their body that they want to have so that they can have this look or whatever, and then they go and get these dangerous procedures that cost thousands, maybe even like uh, several thousands of dollars, and then it could end their life or leave them scarred for life or with health problems for life. So it's incredibly, or in their life, it's incredibly invasive and exorbitantly expensive to remove black market butt injections as well. So even trying to remove the problem, if you had this procedure done and it was botched, it could cost even more money trying to correct the surgery that was botched. So if you get them and experience complications and get tired of your bigger booty, removal isn't turnkey. So it isn't as easy as people think it is. It's not like you can go somewhere and they'll just take it out and boom, it's the end. They'll sew you up and you're back to normal. Whether you're receiving a breast implant or cardiac valve, the body always responds to the foreign object by encapsulating them with scar tissues. So Dr. Maman says that the same goes for the silicone butt injections, which are challenging for surgeons to extract. So it's like removing marbles spreading throughout the entire buttock area. So he says that the surgery, which requires general anesthesia, it doesn't require incredible technical skills, but can be very deforming and traumatic. Okay? So that's really sad. And you spend so much energy trying to make yourself look beautiful and you damage your body and then you try to correct it and take yourself back to the way you were, which you were probably fine to begin with before you got the surgery. You may not look the same. So you may be actually adding more problems onto what you perceive to be something you're trying to fix or enhance. So since it leaves patients who are concerned about appearances with lots of DLOTs. Okay, so depending on how long the foreign bodies have been festering and the extent of your complications, full removal can require one surgery with general anesthesia or more than one surgery with general anesthesia and many incisions as well. So they might have to cut into your body several times just to try to get you back to normal or halfway back to normal. After which recovery time can vary from a few weeks to a few months. So anecdotally, side effects can include bleeding, infection, pain, necrosis, or even tissue death, which requires flesh removal. So the corrective procedure can cost in upwards of $20,000, y'all. So it's a lot more than actually getting the surgeries that botch you up. And so you could be out of a lot of money and you might not even look the same after it's all done and over. So according to Dr. Maman, none of this is none of it's covered by your insurance because it was a cosmetic surgery. And so this is like cosmetic surgery to try to correct it. So that's not considered something that will be covered under your own insurance plan. So only reputable doctors certified by the American Society of Plastic Surgeons should perform cosmetic work on the butt. Random beauticians, aesthetics, or the estheticians who offer injections have no idea about the underlying anatomy, and there's little room for error. So Dr. Minman says another thing, you don't want to go with any old doctor. So technically, there's nothing illegal about a podiatrist doing breast augmentation in the U.S., but this can still lead to problems, he says, adding that the patients should check their doctor's credential and reviews before they even go to them, which a lot of these girls aren't doing. They just hear by word of mouth, or they see a friend that had some surgery done a couple of weeks ago and they get excited and they think, oh, I want to look like that. And then they all tell each other where to go, and then they scrap up the money or whatever and go get the surgery done with no questions asked. And so at the end of the day, the safest way to enhance your butt doesn't require the MD or a single incision. Just hit the gym to perk it up by building muscle mass and the old fashioned way, of course. And so what I wanted to add to this article is that it's really sad that a lot of young people are not happy with the way they look, especially these young women. And I noticed back in the days there were black girls that, they had, some black girls that are friends that I know, people, they had large bottoms and they would get made fun of, or they didn't think it looked good. They thought they were too fat or whatever. And now you have girls who they want what you've been trying to get rid of all this time. And so they'll pay like thousands of dollars, even hurt themselves, kill themselves to look like what you already naturally have. So, people need to be happy with what they already have that is natural, and that comes natural, if you know what I'm saying. But two, you have these people who are in the black market out there and they're making a lot of money right now off your sons and your daughters and whoever else by the word of mouth and this trend with this big butt thing. So anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna try to see if I can find a few of pictures. Bear with me. Now, some people use like creams. They use, like certain kind of, like butt lifter, padded underwear and whatnot. That's probably the lesser of the evils. And I would suggest if somebody wanted to do that, that might be a lot lesser of the evils because you're not having anybody injecting anything into your body. But of course, this is what I was talking about, what we are seeing. And some people are going to say, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. But however, you are going to find pictures like this of people who had butt enhancements. And this is one good example. I'm going to click on it. This was a young woman a woman's Brazilian butt lift implant. And so this is what she looked like. And this is when, after it was all done and over with, I guess she probably no longer wanted it and she had to get rid of it. And so that's how it looked like that. And I'm sorry to gross you out, but this is kind of the sad thing that could happen to someone that has all this fake filler and all this stuff put in there, or silicone and all these different foreign bodies like they tell you. And so they probably cut all of that stuff out. They had to do several incisions, but look what it's done to her bottom. And so it doesn't look good, does it, at all? It looks really deformed, and there's probably nothing else that they can do. So she's permanently disfigured for life. And so this is the kind of thing that these young girls are doing because they want to look like Nicki Minaj, they want to look like Kardashian, they want to look like Beyonce. And I'm not saying that all these women got their butts and hands, but I know some of them did. Even Cardi, she had mentioned that she had something done to her bottom. So there's several women that they feel uncomfortable about the way they look, or they want to enhance themselves because they're in the entertainment business, or maybe they're a stripper, or they're an exotic dancer, or they just want to have that exotic look or whatever. But is it really worth it, y'all? It really isn't. Not if you can end your life, or you can end up permanently disfigured like this. And so I have some associates that were talking about this today, and one girl was talking about she was thinking about and considering doing this. I was telling her, you might want to watch those shows, Botched Surgeries, and before you try to make those wild decisions, because you don't know what you might end up putting in your body, and you don't know if they're really, like they said in the article, you don't know if it's the real deal, or if it's something that they got from Home Depot and they're just jamming it up your butt, and then later you end up like this. And so this is pretty serious, and I think it's something too that can be like a disease where, like an addiction, where people, they get one surgery, they're not happy with it, and they have to make things larger. So I don't know if they have any more pictures, but I'm sorry to gross you out with that picture, but this is what people are doing. People are, trying to make their butt larger. They're trying to, put creams on that do different things to themselves. And so this is the kind of stuff that people are doing, and it's really damaging them. And so I believe this is, they just showed something where somebody's getting an injection right here. And so these are not really healthy, situations that people are putting themselves into. So this is probably like the best example right here of what could happen if you go to one of these surgeons that you don't even really know if they're licensed to practice this type of procedure. And so this is a really sad thing that's happening to young teenagers are trying to do it too, because it's like a big deal now. So I guess I would urge you to talk to your kids or whatever, because I think women are more like prone to something like this because we worry more about our looks and everything, and we worry more and put more pressure on ourselves than anybody. And so I would say to you, really just take this serious, because I think a lot of people might die just from trying to enhance their body. They're taking pills. You got young girls, they're taking pills. They're starving themselves. Or they're doing these type of procedures. They're saving up the little money or their little allowance money. They're working these little jobs and they're saving up the money, and you don't know where they're going, and they're going to these surgeons, you guys, so they can get their butt looking like this, and then later they regret it, and then their butt ends up looking like this picture over here to the right. So anyway, it's something to think about. So this is the article. This is normal bodies of women right here. Be happy with who you are and stop trying to be something that you're not and end up regretting it and end up looking like this. So with that being said, I'm going to let this video go. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for listening.